Are you tired of your drums sounding like this? And you prefer they sound a little more something like this? Then I think I can help with that. So the reason your drums probably sound like trash is because you're not humanizing them. Now, why is this important? Well, you just heard in the example, non-humanized drums, they sound robotic, right? You don't want your drums to sound like they're being played by a robot. So in order to put them into the environment of the real world, with a real drummer playing them, we have to take certain measures to make our program drums sound more real. So, step number 1, randomizing velocity. In this first example, I've done all of the bad things. So the drums, for one, are all 127. So it means the velocities are all maxed out. The effect this has is it just makes your drummer seem like they've got infinite stamina. They can play anything for as long as possible, which isn't really true. So if we listen to that solo, you'll hear they sound kind of ridiculous. Right, they kind of sound stupid. If this is the effect you're going for example, like Infinite Annihilator, their drums are all 127, and that's kind of the effect they're going for, like super over the top, then that's perfect. But for this kind of music, which is kind of meant to sound a bit more grounded, I wanted these to be a bit more natural sounding. So in this example, I have them starting pretty low velocity, and if I show you my velocities, they are a bit randomized. You know, so they start kind of high, they go down a bit, and they go back high. So I'll show you that now. So even that alone makes the drums sound a bit more real. So step 2, position randomization. So for this, in Ableton, we have a thing called grooves. And the way you randomize these is you stick them on the MIDI regions, and you basically turn everything off apart from random, and this just moves the notes left and right by a little bit. And the effect this has, you kind of hear it when I just played it now, it kind of makes them sound a bit like they're skipping, or kind of puts them a bit offbeat. So this is great for especially these fast parts, because you don't want them to always just sound like they're hitting on the grid. You can do this randomly, and I'm sure other DAWs have another way of like automating that, but this is how I do it. So let's listen to that again. Or in fact, I'll turn this up to like 100% so you can hear like the max of what it could be doing. So it sounds dumb, but it is the max amount of random. So if I turn it down to, I don't know, I had it on 15 before, let's turn it on 30 so you can kind of hear it. Sounds a little bit like the drummer's drunk, but if I turn it back to what we had before, that just stops it sounding a bit too gridded. So position randomization also affects the way like flams sound. So I'll play this little thing here where I've got these hitting at the end there, and you listen to what it sounds like. So you can hear that just kind of fell short at the end, because they're hitting exactly at the same time. So what you want to do is you want to put the transient slightly off. So in the second example, it's the exact same thing, except the tom is slightly before the beat. And listen to this. So you can hear it sounds a bit more like they're both happening, and it sounds bigger. So I'll play that again, just that last bit. You can hear that. So this also has all the other good stuff on it. So like the velocities aren't 127 and all that. But if we go on to the next one, too many hands. So you're giving your drummer too many hands. This is kind of a basic one, but it's worth thinking about, because I actually missed one on this. This here. While the drummer was playing this kind of like snare, snare, tom, tom, it probably would be quite hard to play that ride bell at the same time. I'll play that bit just so you can hear what I mean. So in the amended version, I have taken away the ride bell that would have been here. So I'll play that now. And it's small things like that that if there's a real drummer listening, they'll kind of be able to pick up on that. Clearly, it doesn't really matter too much, but especially if these are going to be played by someone live, you want to make sure that they're realistic. So the final tip is to put your drums into a room. This is something I never used to do, and it made my drums sound like they were played by machine. And you can hear on these ones. To an extent, they just sound like samples being played, which is what they are. But you want to give the illusion of them being played in a room by a real guy. So if I go to the second example, you'll hear they're way more roomy. And because they're more roomy, they just sound more like they're actually being played in the room, which is what you want. Now, if you don't want to do this yourself and you'd rather focus on just writing the music, I can do it for you. I do offer a drum programming service on Air Gigs, so you can find that in the description, and you can get 20% off by watching this video. So, if I run through those again, the first one, randomizing velocity, then position randomization, then giving your drummer too many hands, and then finally putting your drums in a room. Those 4 things will make your drums sound way more real. Hope that helps.